It's a uniquely exquisite pain that is often indescribable by those who have not felt it in their gut. In fact, this brand of pain invades, permeates, and commands every cell in one's body, until some days it debilitates the mind and takes control of everything. It is so powerful that it renders the strongest members of our society to the point of despair, bringing them to their knees. And for each one, the pain is different. It can be a raw, stinging, deeply debilitating, heavy, wave-like, burning sensation that holds you in its vice-like grip, squeezing so tightly it's difficult to take a deep breath. The heart races, panic sets in. One questions whether there is even a purpose in trying to fight it at all, because you are so tired of engaging in this battle every moment, every hour, every day of every week. Taking some form of control becomes a priority for someone afflicted with PTSD or brain injury, often to the point of obsession. Control over many different types of everyday activity or occurrences is essential, from complex processes like cleaning regimens to simple things like making sure the door is locked 3 times in a row. Control over something, anything, is a sign that at least something can be controlled when everything else feels so out of control. But no one sees this. You know you have to get up out of bed at some point, but there is the question of how to even make it from the bed to the bathroom, much less from the bed to an actual job. When you get there, a whole new battle begins on top of this one. Because there are things to hide, and there are triggers, and there are those responses. The tendency to drift off to another place and another time, over and over and over again. There exists an ongoing effort to catalog and know the triggers so intimately that you can suppress responses around those who just don't get it. Then, of course, there is a whole other exhausting effort to hide the forgetfulness, to hide the inability to get the words from your brain to your mouth, or the tension your body takes on when you become agitated at things the next person doesn't think twice about, or perhaps something you didn't expect to become agitated about in the first place. It's this constant fight to appear like everyone else, like everything is normal and okay, but they don't know this is happening. In the mind of someone afflicted with PTSD or brain injury, the battle is not limited to just the mind. It affects every part of one's body. It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week battle against one's own mind to figure out what's reality and what isn't, what happened, how to deal with the fallout, how to come to terms with what happened and somehow move forward. If you think about it, the person with PTSD or brain injury is battling their conflict with the past while trying to make sense of it in the present so that they can incorporate some kind of healing process or acceptance in order to move into the future. But it isn't that easy. The brain has strangely deceptive ways of opposing that effort, and there are many dark corners and places for the past to hide out and trick you when it's least expected. The sound of police cars, fire engines, heart monitors, firecrackers, certain smells, maybe even a word or someone's face can immediately take over, overriding someone's best efforts. The battle can be so fierce sometimes that you are too tired and too troubled to even eat. You don't want to be bothered by people at all. Rather, you'd be perfectly happy if no one talked to you, much less touched you, ever again. Avoidance and silence become your best friends. And then there is the wish list. Because you know more than anyone else what it used to feel like to be like everyone else. You remember the moment when you became abnormal and unlike the rest of society. Some refer to it as the moment they died and became another person. That second that they realized the sound of not fitting in or having an identity was louder than anything that they had ever heard. The problem being that there is no knob to turn down the volume on this radio. The song plays over and over and over again with the same message. The wish to go back to the beginning of things when everything was fresh and new and hopeful preoccupies the heart, and the yearning is overwhelming because it was then that life made sense. It was then that there was a road, a path, a map, a plan. PTSD is a dark place, a place where evidence of its presence and impact on the soul surrounds you, closes in on you, and there is no way to follow a path out. There's no itinerary and nothing is expected. Rather, it just comes flying out at you at various times. Unwelcome stimuli take the form of thoughts, memories, regrets, guilt. It's like a never-ending tunnel to nowhere. one where your past plays intermittently like a film on either side of you when you least expect it, startling like the flashbulb of a camera. Perhaps the deepest, greatest wish is to be free, free from the pain, free from the guilt, free to break away from all of it, to fly away from the ugly, from the storm, from the oppression, to find some way out of the tunnel into an identity, into warmth, safety, peace, acceptance, and light. A place where you can finally breathe deeply without feeling the burden of each blink of the eye and each beat of the heart in your chest. A place where the burden of life is lifted forever. It's a series of battles in a war that just never ends. PTSD doesn't just go away, and it can't just be hidden. It is a powerfully progressive illness if not managed properly. PTSD can alter the physical and chemical makeup of the brain, with long-term side effects impacting the overall functioning of those afflicted with it. PTSD awareness. You don't know. You can't ever know or even begin to know what it's like to be trapped inside one's own mind unless you ask, unless you take the time to become enlightened about all the different things that make up the daily existence of a loved one who is afflicted with PTSD and/or brain injury, to learn their norms and their patterns so that you can sense when danger is looming in the moments that they aren't able to see it for themselves. To remain ignorant is to turn your back, and making that choice costs lives every day. So do something, anything, to become more aware and proactive in the monitoring and care of a loved one who lives and struggles with PTSD or brain injury. Because there are so many who will never ask for your help, who hide it so well, who feel it takes from you and who you perceive them to be, that they will appear weak to loved ones, that they are a burden. Knowledge is power. Knowledge means saving lives. It matters. They matter.